What's going on today? I'm going to be wrapping up the series on neighborhoods. I'm going to be talking about grade C neighborhoods. So, this is basically part three. It's going to be um, basically part B left in part A. Okay. So, like I say, I am primarily from the Chicagoland area. Um, I know a little bit about different parts of America, but primarily I know primarily Chicagoland neighborhoods. So when I think of grade C neighborhoods, what comes to mind is particularly a town. It's a few neighborhoods that come to mind, but I definitely would say South Holland, Illinois, is one of those neighborhoods that I would say is just pretty much a grade C neighborhood. Um, maybe in the '90s you could say it was a grade B neighborhood, but one thing about if you're not familiar with the south suburbs of Chicago, the south suburbs of Chicago pretty much kind of took a hit. Uh, I would say post 2001 roundabout. It just went through a demographic change, and primarily, it just basically a lot of South suburban neighborhoods, including the city I grew up in, Dalton, Illinois, just kind of went on a down slide. So I'm gonna show some properties, and then I'm gonna talk about why this is important, why this is relevant, as far as why neighborhoods being graded is important. I'm going to talk about all of that once pretty much I get into this. So, I'll just first off say why this is important. Okay. It's important kind of twofold. One, if you're trying to purchase some real estate personally, like you're trying to move in a new location, it's best that you know what neighborhood that you are going to be moving in. It is actually a threefold kind of thing to look at it. As far as you want to look at what neighborhoods that you want to move into. That's one. Especially if you have children, primarily small children, and you want them to be in a particular type of neighborhood. This is definitely something that you will want to take note of. Second is, if you like myself, if you're a real estate investor, you want to kind of know the neighborhoods as far as the different grades, because you might want to look for some property to invest in. You want to look and see, okay, well, this is pretty much okay. This is a grade D neighborhood or C neighborhood or whatever, so you can kind of understand the location where you at, because a lot of things in real estate is based off of the location. I mean, location is pretty much almost everything, right? So the third thing also is sometimes neighborhoods that, let's just say, are grade F and grade D, they progress into grade C neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods actually have a kind of a life cycle, or they go through a progression period to where all of a sudden, it kind of goes to a point where it gets better. Sometimes people a lot of times people call it what nowadays gentrification. A neighborhood goes from just kind of like a low grade neighborhood to now it's expensive. I'll show you what I'm talking about just basically in a nutshell to kind of give you a roundabout idea of what I'm talking about in the Chicagoland area, for example. Okay. So first, I want to show you what I mean as far as why this is important to see. Okay, is this neighborhood going to go through some type of gentrification and or property changes? Okay, so a long time ago, I had a girlfriend that lived in Evanston, Illinois, and she was black, and she lived like, if people in Evanston, they know where I'm going with this and they know what I'm talking about. Evanston has like a historically black side of Evanston, and it was like a white, or kind of white area of Evanston. But one of the things about Evanston in the last 5 years, they went through and is still going through heavy levels of gentrification. Okay. And on the tail end of that, basically you have um properties that were on the black side of town. They, if you ever whoever had those properties, if they were able to hold on to them, they made bank. Okay. So I'm gonna open up this house right here. This $490,000. So I'm gonna try to see if I can pull up the property history on this, so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. As far as this is important as far as if a property might be grade C, going from grade D to grade C. This is a property right here. Let's look at the street view of it, so I can kind of get a good sense of what type of neighborhood this is in. Um, because I kind of know the black side of town that was in Evanston. I know it pretty fairly well. So let me see if this is actually correct as far as things. Um, yeah, I could tell this is pretty much kind of like the black side of Evanston. So let me go back and let me uh let me see here. So this property here, there's $490,000, right? Let's look at the property history, because I'm gonna tell you these properties were like $100,000 like 10 years ago. 20 years ago they were even less. They were less than $100,000. Okay, so a lot of times, property history details is skewed. Um, they don't really go back further. I don't know why they hide property histories for um basically properties. Let me see here, because I know, for example, let me see if I can find something here. I don't know if it's something that it's people that just they want the records hidden so they can be able to sell the property for more. I'm not sure, but you know it just kind of helps if you understand what the property history is, and that information. It's not the first time that I've you know seen that property history is not available. So I'm going to try to see if I can search for the property history. If I can, I'll just try to find another one just to see. If I can find a property history, I might try a different site. While that's going, I'm gonna try to see if I can find something in Zillow. See if I can find property history. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. I was able to find some more detail on this property through Zillow. So let me share my screen again. Just share my entire screen and make it easy. All right, so this is from Zillow. So this property was sold in 2001 for $180,000. Okay, and in 2002 it was sold for $280,000, right? In 2006 it was sold for $400,000, and then currently it's on the market for $490,000. So Evanston basically went through a series of progressions. And this property basically, Evanston has a lot going on. It's a sweet spot. It's one of those areas in the Chicagoland area that's a sweet spot. It's near the northern suburbs of Illinois, and it's also near the north side of Chicago, and it is also near O'Hare Airport, and it's near downtown Chicago, and it's also basically the home of Northwestern University. So you have a lot of Northwestern students that go to Northwestern. They need a place to live. They need, sorority houses, fraternity houses, and that's pretty much where a lot of faculty they live nearby, and students as well, right? So you have a lot going on in Evanston to where, and then it's also by the lake as well. So you got Lake Michigan within walking distance as well. So yeah, you got a lot going on in Evanston, and this is like just basically one of the situations where actually Evanston went from like a kind of like a C grade neighborhood to like B, you know, and it's like basically within the last 10 years. Okay. So when it comes down to South Holland, South Holland is one of those neighborhoods that, basically kind of was a B neighborhood, but now it's a C grade neighborhood. Okay. It's about 15 minutes from Chicago, depending on traffic, and it is pretty much kind of like I would say on the northern tip of the south suburbs. It's if you go farther south, like to University Park, that's like really like the most southern point of the south suburbs. Um, Basically, South Holland is close to Dalton, and then Dalton is neighbors Riverdale, and then you just have Chicago. Okay, so it's like three towns from Chicago. So yeah, it is pretty much one of those towns where it kind of has a lot going on. It has everything you kind of need for the most part. You might have to go outside for like certain things like clothes. There's no like clothing stores because South Holland is like an old Dutch town. It was like basically founded by the Dutch, and they actually are very kind of like new with certain things. Not too recently, not too long ago, they had a like a out they outlawed sales of liquor past a certain point. Even you couldn't even buy food on Sunday because they had some like kind of old religious values that they basically enforced to the town because it's actually a village. It's a village, so they have like certain covenants and stuff like that, which is good, because a lot of those things like liquor, it degrades a city if you have too many liquor stores. I'll probably do another video. I had one on my other channel, my channel I had a long time ago, where it was signs of a neighborhood basically downgrading. And one of those signs of neighborhoods downgrading is liquor stores. So if you see a bunch of liquor stores opening up, that is not a good sign. Okay. Um, and the thing is that also South Holland does not have apartment buildings. It outlawed apartment buildings, and they do have some that are grandfathered in, but there's no apartment buildings in South Holland like that. You know, I think apartment buildings should be capped because a lot of the um, parts of Chicago where it's a lot of crime, it's a lot of apartment buildings. It's people that basically live in the neighborhood that basically are just living in temporary housing because that's what apartments are. Apartments are temporary housing, and a lot of times they're on the edge and they basically commit a lot of crimes, right? And a lot of violence spreads, from a lot of people living in those apartment dwellings. It's definitely linked to a lot of degradation as well. South Holland has a covenant to where you they don't have any apartment structures that you can build, and also they have a cap on how many people can get Section 8 in the town. They don't allow just anybody that has a house to just, rent out through Section 8. They have a certain level of a cap on how many rental units that are in the village of South Holland that allows for Section 8 vouchers. So the thing about what a grade C neighborhood is and what the signs of a grade C neighborhood is while my internet loads up. Let me just go back to here. Wait for my website to load. Let's see if it loaded up yet. Still loading. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is from my website, brokegeniuses.com. This is the 5 types of neighborhoods. So, grade C neighborhood has marginal crime. It has unemployment rates slightly difficult uh, uh, to fix and flip and collect rental payments, and some abandoned properties, but not that many. Uh, that pretty much is like South Holland. I mean, South Holland does have some abandoned properties, but not that many. I mean, it just very much is it's really not that much abandoned properties in South Holland. Um, you know, it's minute in comparison. So the thing is that some let's look at some demographics and let's see let's see what is the makeup of South Holland. Actually, I think that site is no longer in in existence. You know what? Let's just look. You, I know it's been a while since I looked up um demographics. So city data is definitely it's one that I know to use. Um, keeping websites sites up is very much a challenge. If you're not monetized, if you're not making any money, a website is just a burden. Some of these websites they go out of business. Okay, so this is the demographics of South Holland right here. They're slightly below the median household income in Illinois, which is $69,000. Um, their medium house value and condo value is slightly below the average of Illinois, which is $209,000. Their medium gross rent is 1530. Um, they have a high cost of living. It's it's 102. The average is 100. So it's a higher cost of living to live in South Holland. Definitely, I know that for a fact. Um, the breakdown of people living in poverty is it's like 11.3%, and 14% of the residents is white non-Hispanic. 10.3% is black residents. 21. Okay, so this is a breakdown of people in poverty. So 14% of white non-Hispanic residents, 10.3% black residents, 21.2% Hispanic Latino residents, and 9.8% for other races, and 29.6 for two or more races. Those are the people living in poverty. The breakdown of population is 81% black. Okay, like in the 90s, it was like probably 40% black. The white people have moved out. Long time ago. It's quite a few white people still left in South Holland. They barely holding on. It's They have 10% population, 4.6% Hispanic, two or more races, 0.8, Asian alone, 0.4%. I remember when I lived in South Holland, my neighbors were definitely Korean. I had Korean neighbors. They moved out and sold the house, or something happened. I think they tried to rent it out. Something happened, and then they ended up losing the house, and then somebody bought it in a foreclosure sale. So this is the crime rate. So it had no murders in 2019. They had like two in 2018, one 2017. When I lived in South Holland was 2011 to 2012. It was no murders. Actually, all the time I was living in South Holland, there was no murders. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. It was one in 2009. I think I actually even it's so small. I actually know I don't know the person that got murdered in 2009, but I'm pretty certain who this was. It was some guy that got stabbed by his uncle. He either got stabbed by his uncle or it was the guy that got shot at the gas station trying to sell Jordans or something. They have basically below the national average as far as murders. They're below the average when it comes to uh, rape. For some reason, it got really high in 2017 and 18 and 19. A lot more robberies as well. Um, but overall, I would say compared to Chicago, compared to other suburbs, it's very relatively low crime. Like the police is very aggressive in South Holland. They don't tolerate a lot of mess, you know. So yeah, I mean it's pretty much like I say, it's a grade definitely a grade C neighborhood. It's one of those neighborhoods where it is a higher cost of living. But if you get a house, you are not gonna have to worry about your kids having problems in school. They got pretty good schools. It's private schools available as well. It's kind of like Christian schools because South Holland is a historical Christian value type of town or village. It's called a village actually. So they still have some of those attributes that are historic with South Holland. So it's just not a rich neighborhood. It's not like when I show you B neighborhoods and A neighborhoods, you'll see why, basically the difference. You'll instantly see the difference. And I'm gonna kind of show you as well certain neighborhoods or whatever that actually I'm gonna show you some things about like I want to talk about different things that you can spot when you want to spot a grade C neighborhood. Okay, so a lot of times certain businesses will not even open up a business or store unless it's a grade C neighborhood. Okay, I'll if you see these businesses, it's a sign that the neighborhood is a grade C or higher, you know, neighborhood. Because this is what I noticed. So one of the companies, and this is just bare minimum, Kohl's. If you see a Kohl's, that is a pretty good sign that this neighborhood is a C grade or higher. If you see a Kohl's, okay. Another one is if you see basically a Target. Target does not like having their stores in anything past C at the very minimum. They do not like having their stores in grade D neighborhoods, grade F neighborhoods. It was a Target on the south side of Chicago. They just basically closed up shop and left. A lot of people in the neighborhood was kind of pissed off by it, but Target is primarily kind of like somewhat kind of like known to be like a bougie version of Walmart, right? And they just basically, if you notice about Target, Target is not in certain neighborhoods. One thing I've noticed is that they tend to be in neighborhoods that are grade C and above. Okay, So yeah, if you ever see, these like certain businesses start closing down, I mean that's a sign that something is going on. You know, um, I would say also another sign that your neighborhood is a C or higher, or the neighborhood that you're looking at is a C or higher, is Lowe's. Lowe's is another establishment. They don't open up no damn stores, no Lowe's in no sketchy neighborhoods or nothing like that. It's usually, like I say, grade C and above. Okay. Um, that's just some of the things that I noticed. And another one is, you could say, Best Buy as well. Best Buy tend to not basically open up in anything C or above. And also, you could even say you could also say you could say basically Walmart, like a combination Walmart and Sam's Club. Like Walmart, I've seen Walmarts that are in gray D neighborhoods, but a Walmart that's connected to a Sam's Club, definitely in C or above. Definitely hands down, C or above. Another thing is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A usually does not open up any restaurants above basically C grade or above neighborhood. That's one of the things that I noticed. Okay. It just, those are just a few kind of like hints. Another thing you could say is, because I've noticed this, RMAX. RMAX don't open up no like, location in no C or below neighborhood. If you see these businesses, that's pretty good sign that the neighborhood is a C or above. And here's the thing, you know, I appreciate all my white folks that watch me. But you could also say C is for Caucasian. I mean, I'm just gonna say it, man. Unless you are in an enclave, like there's black enclaves and stuff like that, but white folks even tend to want to be around upper class black people as well. They don't really want to, like, white people will be around like black people, but they want to be around black people that kind of like upper class or upper middle class. You could even say C grade neighborhoods is C for Caucasian. I mean, I'm in the real estate, and one of the secrets about real estate is basically everybody follows the white folks. I mean, it is what it is. If anybody told you anything different, they'll be lying to you. I mean, unfortunately, it that is the case. White people have a lot of wealth, and wherever they are, they bring their wealth with them. They leave their wealth, um wherever they are, and whenever they move, they take their wealth with them. And then when they move to some new location, they also bring in the wealth, in the business credits and stuff like that with them. So that's another kind of like hint as far as a grade C neighborhood. Is there at least a 10% or higher value of white people in this particular neighborhood? Now, there is some outliers. There are black enclaves in the United States of America that are where there's black upper middle class, black upper class, right? But primarily in mass, I would say most grade C neighborhoods, they tend to be where white folks live. It is what it is. Okay. So, those are kind of like a few businesses that are kind of like a hint to the neighborhood being a grade C neighborhood, right? In the next segment, I'm going to eventually talk about grade B neighborhoods. And then after that, I'm going to talk about graded structures. Okay, you got certain real estate structures that are graded, because it's like basically uh you could buy almost any type of property, right, in a grade B neighborhood, right, or grade A neighborhood, because you could just demo the property, and then the land is so valuable because of the location that you could still make money off of it. But it kind of goes into the graded structures of properties, because why would you buy a grade F property in a grade F neighborhood? You would probably, if you want, likely you would want to have a grade B structure in a grade F neighborhood, or a C or above. So I'm gonna be talking about that eventually as well, but I'm gonna definitely finish up these last two with B and A neighborhoods, so you can get a good just of idea of where things are. I'll piggyback. I'll show you again South Holland to just kind of get a snapshot of what a grade C neighborhood is. Okay, so this is grade C. So when I go to grade B, so just in case you didn't know, South Holland, Illinois is like basically a middle class neighborhood. Well, I'll give you a hint. Grade B is basically upper middle class. Okay. And then obviously grade A is fucking upper class. I mean, I'm talking, Bentley in the driveway, upper class, just mansions and swimming pools and shit like that. Even when I go to B, a lot of these neighborhoods will have a swimming pool in the backyard, quite a few of them. So yeah, I mean, you could even say B is definitely for bougie, and what is A? A would be I'll have to think of something for that. Basically a bunch of rich assholes. Shit. I mean, yeah, it's gonna get more bougier after after this. Okay, so just stay tuned for that. I appreciate the eyeballs that have watched this, and appreciate the further people watching this. Okay, and I'm definitely gonna be talking about more real estate, because I've been following some people on Instagram that are into real estate, such as it's a guy that I'm really into. I really relate to his Instagram is Renaissance 125, and yeah, he does a lot of Chicago property, commercial properties, and he's a landlord. So I've been watching his content, and then I definitely check up on Erica Williams and stuff like that. It's real estate, definitely, I would have to say, is one of those asset classes that you want to focus on if you want to actually become wealthy and rich in this country, because yeah, I'm still a stock market aficionado. My future goals and ambitions revolve around options, stocks, and other underlying asset classes. But real estate will always be something that I'll be focused on. I'll be 70, 80 years old, and going to closings and going to open houses, making sure my properties are straight, because real estate is going to always be something that's going to be needed, and it's going to always be opportunity for it. I talked last night about basically the rental aspect of it is infinite wealth. You know, rental income is actually infinite wealth if you maintain the properties, pass it on to your children, they pass it on. It doesn't stop unless you want it to stop. Okay, so real estate is one of those things where you can it alone could make you uh a wealthy person. You know, I just can't say it enough. It'll change your life immediately. You just buy one property, you know, and you know, you can pretty much change your life for the rest of your life, basically.